Hi guys, I wanted to talk to you briefly today about why I am bullish on Litecoin in 2018 and why it is still one of my major holdings. Litecoin was actually the currency that got me into cryptocurrency in what seems like forever ago now. I bought it because I saw it on Coinbase and it was the cheapest currency there, and that's where I initially picked it up a whole bunch cheaper than it is now. But it's still one of my major holdings because I believe it has so much further to go, and in terms of coin utility, I think it will actually be one of the major currencies that exists long into the future. So Litecoin is built and developed by Charlie Lee, the head of Litecoin. Charlie Lee is a controversial figure in the cryptocurrency community because he's somebody who, while he promotes Litecoin to the best of his ability, he is also a bit of a problem in terms of his marketing strategy and his personality on social media. Now, overall, Charlie Lee is one of the reasons I actually believe in Litecoin in the long term, and it makes me feel very confident that there is such a passionate developer behind the program. But it's also worth acknowledging the fear and the doubt that he spread among this coin throughout the recent months. Prominently, around the middle of December, Charlie put out this tweet right here, and unfortunately, it actually timed just before Litecoin plummeted from around 400-ish US dollars to around the 250 to 300 level. And after saying this, people put a lot of blame on him for bringing such negativity into the community. Further, Charlie's been criticized because he actually sold all of his Litecoin. Now, I personally disagree with Charlie's reasons for doing this because he explains that he did it because there was a conflict of interest, because a tweet from him could influence the price of the product. And while I don't think him selling his holdings in Litecoin means that he has no incentive to work on it, because what he says he's doing is building the currency of the future, and I think that is incentive enough. But I also think that if you look at it in terms of a CEO holding shares in their firm, it's very reasonable for him to hold on to Litecoin. So, of course, when Charlie sold all his Litecoin in what seemed to be like the golden days for Litecoin, when it was peaking, when everybody was talking about it in the middle of December, and then for him to sell it, this and this tweet right here, in combination, led to a lot of negativity in the Litecoin community. Overall, I don't think these should be held completely against Charlie, and particularly because, as we're about to see, he set up the Litecoin Foundation, which has actually taken over a lot of the marketing and a lot of the social media push for Litecoin. So the Litecoin Foundation is a not-for-profit that seems to just be pushing for the future of Litecoin. They release a lot of news, they have resources you can follow, they have their own business, and you can actually donate to them if you're somebody who is passionate about the Litecoin community. You'll see here that they've released books promoting Litecoin and trying to get their customers to really understand what digital currency and blockchain technology is. However, if you're somebody who is actually vehemently opposed to Charlie Lee, it's worth noting that he actually is still on the board of directors, despite him trying to keep a separate personality from the Litecoin Foundation. And overall, I really like the Litecoin Foundation. I think it is something that is quite unique to Litecoin. You don't see not-for-profit pushing many other currencies, and having this here in what seems to be a somewhat community-focused program, pushing out resources and books and making their effort to push for the future of cryptocurrency as a global currency, I think that this is again another benefit in the conversation of Litecoin. But more importantly, what we see is the technological development underpinning Litecoin. Week after week, we see announcements of what is actually being built into the Litecoin system. And we see here that actually quite recently, the Litecoin core has released its most recent update. And very simply, what this update has done is it has meant that small issues have been fixed, such as not being able to open up duplicate wallets, but more importantly, it actually means that the Litecoin transaction fee has been lowered even more. And again, that is such a positive development for Litecoin when it is already considered the cheap alternative to Bitcoin, the silver to Bitcoin's gold. Further than that, we see that Charlie Lee is a real hustler. Almost every day we're seeing announcements on Twitter that Litecoin is being accepted by new companies, new businesses such as Alliant, and I mean, this is just my personal opinion, but if you were ever to see a huge social media conglomerate or a large importing company like Amazon accept a cryptocurrency payment, at this stage, you'd really expect it to be Litecoin rather than Bitcoin, just because of its lower transaction fees and how quickly it can send compared to other currencies. Further, Litecoin actually has other companies trying to facilitate it. So we have LitePay, which is trying to facilitate the payment of Litecoin in wallets and cards. But on top of that, it actually has competition, which is pushing it further in LitePal. Now, LitePal I think is quite funny because it released quite recently and it seems to be such an avid supporter of Litecoin. But you scroll down here and somebody says, Charlie, have you been helping LitePal? And he says, no, I only just heard of them yesterday. I think it's quite funny that we're having these services pop up that are passionate about Litecoin and can see it as a currency that can benefit them, and that's why they're looking to facilitate it. Additionally, I think what's cool about Litecoin is that whenever you see Bitcoin being adopted somewhere, you can also see Litecoin following just behind. And for example, in all the Bitcoin ATMs that you see being advertised on social media, all of those Bitcoin ATMs, 41% of them now support Litecoin. They don't support Ethereum, they don't support Cardano or Tron, they're supporting Litecoin. And of course, that's because of Litecoin's inherent connection to Bitcoin, and it's always going to be very easy for Bitcoin and Litecoin to be intertwined in this way. But again, it just seems that whenever Bitcoin, the main cryptocurrency that the mainstream media grab onto, progresses, it's very reassuring that Litecoin is following just behind. And that is another reason why. And that probably is the crux of why I'm bullish on Litecoin in 2018. Because if you look to Litecoin's recent developments and how it's been progressing as a currency, its proportional value to Bitcoin has actually been increasing over time. You can see here that around November 2016, it wasn't even 1% of Bitcoin. Fast forward to today's date in the middle of February, and you have Litecoin being worth 0.02 Bitcoin. Litecoin is appreciating against Bitcoin. It is really living up to that concept of being the silver to Bitcoin. And some people speculate that when cryptocurrency becomes a stable, globally accepted currency, that Litecoin should be worth a quarter of the value of Bitcoin. Of course, you can't predict how these values of these currencies are going to progress over the next years and decades. But it doesn't seem unrealistic that Litecoin, a quicker, less congested, and overall more efficient coin than Bitcoin, with a maximum supply that is about 4 times the size of Bitcoin, shouldn't be, in general, valued about 4 times less than Bitcoin. And I think overall, that's probably the main reason why I'm going to keep holding it. Yes, Litecoin has been incredibly volatile, more so than Bitcoin in the last 2 months. Of course, if you'd bought Litecoin earlier in 2017 and been able to sell at the very, very peak when it was getting close to $400, then you would have played it perfectly. But most people can't play it perfectly. And for those people who are still holding on to Litecoin or are looking at an ideal entry point, then I think this is an okay price. I think if you are willing to play the long game and wait for it to appreciate more and more against Bitcoin, and if you are confident with the rapid technological advancements that are being built into it, and if you are confident in the dedication that Charlie Lee has in his product, then I think Litecoin is something that you too should be bullish on. Alright guys, that's all I wanted to say today. While we don't talk about Litecoin or the top currencies on our website, you should still consider going to TheBitFeed.com and looking at the currencies that we review, because we're trying to review and pick out the currencies that we think are going to last long into the future, or at the very least are being talked about in the crypto space, to give you a more objective, realistic view of what new currencies and tokens are doing. So consider coming to our website, subscribing, following us on Twitter, and following us on YouTube for more regular updates. Thank you.